I told you. You didn't want to listen, and I told you.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. I told you. BYU beats VCU in what was our game of the day in the Big 12. Final score 80-71. I predicted on Twitter 79-68, almost on the money. And I made a video yesterday saying, wait, I actually can't remember. What did I say in the BYU is going to blow out VCU, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise. Oh, I'm sorry. Who is the guy that was in front of the podcast microphone that said I couldn't listen? It wasn't very. BYU is going to blow out VCU, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise. For the first time since I was in middle school, BYU moves on. Again, game of the day in the Big 12. This is the one that everyone had their eyes on. Will BYU, who was projected to finish a very tight game, shot quality had it 76-71 against VCU, will they be able to fend off the Rams, who were so good analytically, both offensive and defensively? Now, shot quality, which I've told you is my favorite analytics site, told us that BYU is much better on defense than we all thought, and that BYU had a leg up offensively on a VCU defense that was overrated overall. That is why I thought BYU could ultimately blow out this game. A 20-point lead is what the Cougars were able to get out to here. Yes, VCU cut it tight. Yes, VCU was red hot from three-point land, but BYU was the much better team. Had you told me VCU was going to score 71 points against most teams in round one of this tournament based on how good their defense is, they likely win. But BYU was just a much better basketball team. I also told you that when you say, hey, Kevin Young, VCU's defense is good, or VCU's a very good basketball team, Kevin Young saying, I used to beat Greg Popovich and the Spurs, Eric Spoelstra and the Heat, Steve Kerr and the Warriors, and Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars. 13 years. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. I was in elementary school, and now BYU has done it. Look, I'm not a BYU. Can I tell you something before I get into the analytics and the stats from this game? This morning, I leave my house. And who do I see but two Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints missionaries. That's right. Very well-ironed shirts, name tags, bicycles, and helmets. And I thought, that's it. That's a sign. Two guys on their mission in Savannah, Georgia, and I've had people in my neighborhood be like, yeah, do you see the LDS community? They showed up this week. I'm like, I just missed them. And today, for the first time on my drive out, I roll the window down and I'm yelling, go Cougars, go BYU, game day. And they looked really, really scared, which made me figure, people are likely usually yelling much worse things out their car window than what I probably did, which, not to make light of that, just saying that I was trying to be nice. And they seemed really afraid of that. I just knew it was a sign from God that BYU was going to win this game against VCU, and they did 80-71, and it wasn't that close for a large majority of it. Again, VCU was able to make every three-pointer they threw up. There at the end of the game, it was like, VCU, they're going to jack up a three. It's somehow going to go in. So I almost hate the stats from this game because they feel so skewed. 3-point percentage for VCU, 40%, 15 for 38, which wasn't the story early on. BYU's defense really locked in. For BYU, 7 for 20. They were great early on from three. And then Kevin Young said, hey, all those dissenters, all those fans who say that BYU lives and dies by the three, all those people who are still recovering from the Mark Pope era of jacking up threes, I'm an NBA coach. When something's not working, I've got plenty of things in my bag. BYU shot 54 shots to VCU's 63 shots. And I tried to tell you, if you listen to the show where I said BYU can blow out VCU, one of the biggest things that I used was BYU's inability to get to the line based on analytics, but VCU's terrible. They're kryptonite. They are so bad at sending other teams to the stripe. And that's exactly what they did. That's what made the difference in this game. 19 more made free throws from BYU. And even though the Cougars, who are bad at shooting free throws, didn't shoot free throws very well, they had 28 opportunities. For a team that doesn't go to the line very often, VCU sends opposing teams to the line all the time. It's exactly what happened here. Sorry, I'm getting fired up, but this is just exactly how the analytics shot quality predicted the game would go between BYU and VCU. Let me pull it up again. For BYU, 269th in America in free throw rate. They don't go to the line. They don't make their free throws. But VCU, 263rd in free throw rate defensively. They send you to the line. It's what they did to BYU. They sent the Cougars to the line. BYU, 19 for 28 there. That was plenty enough to win. Kiba Keita is my favorite player in college basketball. I love him to death. If you see him soon, give him a very platonic and consensual kiss on the cheek for me, because he... from blocking shots to rebounds, and VCU only turned the ball over 11 times. I should note, BYU was just more tactical. 38 points in the paint for BYU, mostly Kiba Keita's ability to score and to rebound. I told you he was going to be a catalyst. Richie Saunders is great. He is your A1 guy that can get you there on a deep run in March. You need a cast of characters. To me, Keita is the guy who will be the absolute spark plug down low for BYU to make a run this March and to beat Wisconsin, who they will play in the round of 32. The Shulga kid, look, I get why he made so many threes in the second half. If I was tasked with guarding someone who had that haircut, I too would just give him space. I'd be like, you know what, man, things already are not great in the haircut category for you. Yeah, I'm going to give you the opportunity here to shoot. And that's exactly what they did for the Shulga kid, who ended up hitting 4 3-pointers, and that kept VCU in the game. Richie Saunders, 16 points, only made 1 3-pointer, which is fine. Yegor Demon, oh, ye of little faith, who said he couldn't shoot threes, 6 for 11 overall, 3 for 7 from deep. The first three he took, I was like, and then it went in. You know what? I forget. He's from Europe. He can shoot from deep. The European guys can often shoot. Let him have it. Trevin Nell, a couple 3-pointers as well. BYU's bench, only 1 3-pointer overall, but that was fine. And even where Cannon Catchings didn't step up and have an insane game. And, you know, for the most part, your bench in total at 26 points weren't the backbreakers against VCU. Traora was spectacular, and the right guys who needed to step up when they could. Even Dallin Hall with a couple key assists were right there when you needed them. This is a deep BYU team. This is an NBA team who is moonlighting as a college basketball team. And that is only going to help BYU as they go deeper in this tournament. They get Wisconsin in the next round. And I can tell you who I think is going to win that game and give the advanced analytics. But then you wouldn't watch the next video. That would just kind of give it to you all in one spot. For today, you should be excited. You should be happy. If you're a BYU fan, this is the culmination of a long time of waiting. I have my Hold My Root Beer shirt on as we speak as well, just so I can get my Cougar pride. Now we're going to watch Kansas go beat up on Arkansas. We're going to watch later tonight Texas Tech get a big win against UNC Wilmington. And then here in a couple days after the Big 12 sweeps again tomorrow, we watch BYU beat Wisconsin. Don't go anywhere.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. After BYU beat up on VCU, Game Time is the place that I went to say, hey, if I could go see BYU play a basketball game coming up, where would I go? Game Time. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and watching unforgettable moments. Nothing like experiencing a big game in person. Get tickets that shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier to grab last-second tickets. Game Time Picks. It's a curation that makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Check the Game Time app. Amazing deals on some matchups coming up, including with some Big 12 teams. And lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Seat view before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guaranteed. Book with confidence. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, that's guaranteed. BYU over Wisconsin, We'll see. That's all coming up as we break down March. We sleep in May. This has been It Always Has. This has been It Always Will Be. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. I'm fired up. Doze Grande.